I'm actually really against the parking. When the parking meters came out, I haven't gone to any place that's got a parking meter.
People complain that there is a lack of wintertime employment opportunities in this area. Would you agree that with that statement, and if so, what can be changed to better those opportunities?
Going back to industry down here, yeah, we could use some corporations, and I like Mark's idea of tech jobs. And I think during your mayorship, you were trying to turn Myrtle Beach into a year-round place. We are touristy, and the service industry is our #1 business down here. And obviously, if we don't have people coming to be tourists, then we don't have much of a service industry. We're not really set up for the big infrastructure that like Charleston has, as far as big companies. I know a couple years ago, before they built the Market Commons, Boeing was actually looking at putting their plane in the old Air Force Base, and Myrtle Beach didn't want that. And honestly, I kind of like Market Commons, and I don't think it was a bad idea. But as somebody that used to work on airplanes, I'm a big airplane fan, and I purposely live close to the airport so I can see all the planes. But as far as bringing business in, we have to go out there, like Ed said, and just make it more pleasing for people to come down here. But really, as far as making more jobs right now, we got to please the tourists. And we got to put more beds and heads and keep the people that we got working now, keep them working. Tourism slacks down, but we got unemployed people out there. So we got to think about them now, as long as we're thinking about the future too.
What factors contribute to the local use of heavy drugs, and how would you combat that epidemic?
Here, basically, when you get addicted to drugs, what it starts out is you get addicted to painkillers. The pharmaceutical companies are in with the doctors, and they get you on painkillers. And then when you don't get your painkillers is when you start going to the harder stuff. And the harder stuff is a lot easier to find black market. The DEU down here does a great job and they've got their hands full down here. They've got a big territory to cover, and it's not just Myrtle Beach. But getting those drugs off the street is going to be the biggest thing. And people down here, they can't afford the drugs, so they rob places and they commit crimes to get the drugs. And they go out there and you'll see some really shady people out there doing prostitution for drugs. They'll trade prostitution for drugs. They'll do anything. But when I moved down here back in the 90s, it was crank. That was a big thing, and now it's called crystal meth, and they were cooking it right there inside the hotel. And it's not a good thing. Drugs are bad. I don't care what anybody says about pot and how they smoke pot. I still look at it as a drug. That was my upbringing. Nancy Reagan told me to say no to drugs, and I have. But to clean up the drugs, you will clean up the crime. And that's where more police will come in handy. To get out there, actually get these people off the streets, get the drugs off the streets. And we got to get their bigger dealers too. We can't just get the dime guy that's on the corner. We got to get the suppliers, we got to get the people, and we just got to eliminate everything right there. And with the drugs comes the crime. So you pretty much killing two birds with one stone right there.
What challenges do individuals face in opening a small business here in Myrtle Beach? And is there anything that could be done to encourage individuals to start businesses in the city?
Well, this is one I really wish I had prepared for. Challenges basically is the city. I mean, there's a lot of permits that you have to get. There's a lot of waiting time. A lot of people say that they won't open up a business here because of the ad tax. And there's a lot of people say that they don't want to shop here because of the ad tax. And honestly, ad tax or no ad tax, I spend money in the city because this is my city. We just got to make it more appealing for people that want to start businesses here. We got to make sure that they can not just start a business, but stay in business. Help them any way they can. We need to have like workshops for people like that. And it's not easy starting a business in the city, and some of us here are business owners. We all know the ups and downs, but just got to make it more appealing and give them help. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Currently, property taxes are voted on by local government and not by local population. Would you allow citizens to vote on tax changes? Why or why not?
I'm going to take a quick poll right now. Who here would, if you were faced with a tax raise, who would vote? Would you vote for a tax raise?
I'd vote.
If it was out there, would you
vote
vote?
for it or against it?
That's what I'm saying. Are you going to vote for it? Nobody's going to vote for a tax raise.
That's what it is.
But I can see where, if it's a major tax raise, like you're talking 5, 6, 10%, yeah, it should be put out there for the people. Other than that, that's what you got your elected officials for. You just gonna have to trust them. And if you don't, and they do a bad job, vote them out.
How do you feel the loss of the pavilion affected the downtown in Myrtle Beach, and would you bring it back if it was in the ability of the city government?
To be honest with you, I mean, the reason why the pavilion closed was because the third reading passed for Hard Rock Park to go. And as soon as that passed is when Bars and Chapin decided to close the pavilion. I don't know why. I think they got mad about it, but it's a private entity. I mean, it is their land, their business. The city really doesn't need to be in amusement parks. We need to focus more on our people. The pavilion was a great area. I loved going there. I loved how you could be able to walk in off the street and go straight in there instead of having to pay a gate fee. You go to Carowinds, you're gonna have to spend $50 to go in there, and you can go down to Family Kingdom now and walk through and walk around all the rides for free, you know. And if you're local, you get a $15 all-day pass. But as far as the pavilion, I wish it was still here, but there's nothing I can do, and that's not a government thing.
Myrtle Beach has experienced big crime rates during bike weeks typically. What has the city or county government done right, and what have they done wrong in handling these weeks in the past and present years, and what would you do differently?
Well, that's a loaded question.
I didn't write it.
I'm about half tempted to say no comment on this one,
Okay.
because I don't know if I'm gonna actually, some things I might be able to get in trouble on, but it's not all the bike weeks that are a problem. It's just, you just need more police out there. You know, one bike week, we actually bring agents in and police department in, and they like it, and they have fun, and they're real great to work with, and then other ones dread having to go out. But we do need more of a police presence. We actually need to write more tickets during some, instead of some weeks other than others. And what we need to do is enforce the laws. It seems like some of them are coming up here because they can get away with whatever they want to. And that's, the end of May is nothing but a YouTube fiasco for the city of Myrtle Beach. You can sit there, and the Scanner Channel app, oh, it goes nuts. But we just need to start enforcing laws and making them actually pay for their damages instead of just being scared and letting them go.
What factors led to Myrtle Beach being a hot point in the human trafficking industry, and what will you do to help put an end to the human trafficking in this area?
I agree with Mark. That's a police matter, but the one thing that I think that we need on this one is more of a task force. You got Johnny Lawman down there on the street walking the beat, handing out parking tickets is not a good candidate for human trafficking. You need people with experience and people know how to handle it, and then we just, honestly, the whole city needs to get versed on how to handle a situation like that. And I'm not talking the residents, I'm talking, you know, the residents need to call it in when they find out stuff. But as far as the police goes, we need to have a task force for that. As far as city council goes and the prosecutors and all that, they need to be taught how to deal with that.
How do you feel that the barricades on Ocean Boulevard have impacted Myrtle Beach since the Father's Day shootings? I'm going to combine it also with another question. Over Father's Day last Father's Day weekend, people complained that we had a lack of police presence in the city. Do you agree that we didn't have required police presence? Do you think the barricades were effective? Has it been positive or negative? Is there a mix, or how would you grade the solutions that we had to that problem?
honestly, when they put those barricades up, I wanted to go down and hang Christmas tents along them. Those things were so god-awful ugly. And they were an eyesore. You ask anybody in town, they were just a horrible eyesore. And the businesses that were down there, they didn't like it. I talked to one of the guys who runs a hotel down there right at the end of the barricades, and he said that was the worst thing they could have done. I can see where a barricade could keep somebody from going in front of a car and getting hit, but those things were just horrible. They're ugly. They're an eyesore. That we didn't need them. If you look at the Facebook video that was out there when they actually put the barricades up, on Father's Day, within a minute there was 4 officers, cop cars down there, and this is where it hits home because my buddy was a security guard that got shot down there. He got his lick in too. So, but basically that goes down to the whole gang situation. That was a gang-related incident, and that's where we need the police to be able, and probably a task force. We do have a gang task force here. They need to be on top of that. Now, there's no way that you're going to know every gang that's in town at what time. You can only guess, but we just got to control the gangs. And I mean, people can actually go out there and get hit by a car, but just not with barricades. They're just horrible. It takes the whole thing away. And I had a problem with the bike lane. They were taking up the bike lanes, so the people with the bikes, they had to go around them, and getting them around them. People with the bikes, they fought for a long time trying to, and I'm sorry I'm long-winded, but they fought for a long time to get the bike lane. They got it passed, they got it built, and now these people had to ride in the streets to go around the barricades, which didn't make it safe for them.
Should the Tourism Development Fund stay in effect? And if so, where should the money go?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm actually for it. I've noticed my personal property taxes have gone down because of it. And I don't mind spending one more penny than I normally do. But the money should go back to the businesses. The residents are getting a good cut. Like I said, my personal property taxes are down, but the businesses need some kind of break. Like it's hard for somebody to run a business here. And obviously the city's not giving them any breaks, so they need that. And as Forrest Gump said, that's about all I got to say about that.
CD, it's not personal property tax, it's real estate tax.
Well,
There's a big difference.
Long term, say over the next 10 years, what do you foresee to be the greatest challenges that Myrtle Beach will face? And briefly, what may be done for us to rise to those challenges?
well, we need to look ahead and not look behind. We need to, excuse me, we need to look at how great we were before and focus in on that and make it better for the future. And we're not going to be able to do that with John Rhodes. We're going to not be able to do that with Peterson and the city council. So we really need to change there first. If we don't change there first, we're not changing anything. Basically, public safety. I mean, here we go back to city council. City council is the one that votes whether we get more public safety or not. Everything boils down to the city council. If you don't change them, the guys that sit in front of you, when you sit there and go to a city council meeting, if you don't change them, you're not changing anything.
If you could only change one thing about Myrtle Beach in the next few years, what would that one thing be?
2 words: city council.